Hello everyone and welcome to the October edition of our monthly movie reviews. This is the series where we take all the new movies we saw over the course of a month and we review them in order from worst to best. So, if you were expecting a review for Parasite or Pain and Glory, I would recommend going to our New York Film Festival 2019 playlist on our channel and checking those videos out. But don't do it yet, just do it after because of our analytics, okay? We need our average watch time to be sky high. Anyway, it's time for the movies.
Those people will be soon. Man, come on, man. I ain't finna go Alex Jones level on y'all, man. Come on, man. What y'all, like, wake up, Mr. West, wake up, culture.
I am a god.
Holy shit, Countdown is one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my life. It is like they took every horror movie cliche ever and put it into this one film. I swear to God. The movie is horribly acted, horribly shot, horribly directed, horribly written. If giving something a 0 out of 10 was a thing, I would do it for this film. Not this movie. Don't ever watch this movie ever in your life. It is not worth trying to use your brain cells to think about what this movie is or what it's about. It's wild though, because with a competent director, this idea could be cool. Having an app that tells you when you're going to die or whatever, wait a minute, saying it out loud makes it feel dumb. Countdown is a 1 out of 10.
Wake up, Mr. West, wake up, culture.
I am a god.
Jexi is fucking stupid, but there is some heart to it, I guess. There is this one sequence with Kid Cudi and it reminded me of every time I see a film with Kid Cudi in it and the film ends up being fucking stupid. Same rules apply here. A solid 2 out of 10.
Wake up, Mr. West, wake up, culture.
I am a god.
Zombieland 2 is a movie I really don't think needs to be made at all, but hey, we are getting it. And even though director Ruben Fleischer has been super duper inconsistent over the years, I still have hope that this film can break that curse. The original cast is returning, and a lot of their careers have really taken off since the original film in 2009. Emma Stone is now an Oscar-winning actress for her amazing and beautiful performance in La La Land. Woody Harrelson has been in a lot of 7 out of 10s or lower. Lex Luthor is a crackhead, and Abigail Breslin is kind of like a babe now. I'm allowed to say that because she's 22.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it.
Zombieland 2, Double Tap something blah blah blah, is probably the most soulless film I've seen this year. This is another terrible film from Ruben Fleischer, the director of Venom, Denim Gonna Get 'Em, and Gangster Squad. I don't think I really found a single enjoyable moment in the film because those moments either lasted too long like it was a Paul Feig movie, or blatantly filling in time with bits from the previous movie, or it was just poorly presented and dumb. The mid-credits scene is a prime example. This film didn't need to exist at all. Also, there's too much time between sequels, like what the fuck? The chemistry that Jesse Eisenberg and Emma Stone might have had 10 years ago is non-existent in this film. The slow motion bits are not as dynamic as they were in the first film. The plot itself is this predictable, contrived, and insulting sequence of events that desperately needed a redo. I plan on never seeing this film ever again, and I'm giving Zombieland Double Tap a 3 out of 10. Could be a 2, I don't know. Like, it offended me, but it didn't. Like, I've seen worse films this year. I don't know. This film was just soulless.
Zombieland 1 is one of my favorite films from my childhood. The original film is so badass, but underneath all that good shit is heart that audiences can see and resonate with its cast and story. It's a film that doesn't take itself way too seriously. Zombieland 2, however, is a huge disappointment. This movie is devoid of any heart and is here just because. You can tell he really didn't care about it at all. And according to its box office results, audiences must have felt the same way. This film is complete garbage. Some action sequences are alright, and the new zombies they introduce are pretty cool, but this unfunny shitfest is to yet another reason as to why the zombie craze has been dying out. If I could get a lobotomy to forget this movie and not suffer for the rest of my life, I would, deadass. This movie's a solid 2 out of 10.
Wake up, Mr. West, wake up, culture.
I am a god.
Gemini Man is bad? This movie tries so hard to be this unique cinema-defining film, but through all of its rubber CGI young Will Smith face, you can piece together all the bullshit if you've ever been to the movies one time in your life. It's not good, man. Like, not good at all. My girlfriend Mary Elizabeth Winstead seems to be the only actor in the movie that actually cares about anything, and it was cool to see her, and I guess the rest of the film in a high frame rate 3D theater, but this movie will be forgotten about in a couple of... Wait, what was I talking about again? Oh yeah, Gemini Man, yeah, it's a 3 out of 10.
Wake up, Mr. West, wake up, culture.
I am a god.
Lucy in the Sky is so bad. Oh my god. If you are easily nauseous, do not see this film because the aspect ratio is constantly changing and it made me feel sick after 10 minutes. I don't understand this choice to make the film such an unpleasant experience to sit through. And it's not unpleasant like Irreversible or Mother or Requiem for a Dream. It's just unpleasant. Like, why am I here? That's what I was thinking while I was watching the movie. I'm like, why? The aspect ratio change has such a consistent presence in the film that an otherwise boring and unspecial movie is dragged down and becomes this horrendous experience. The actors in the film are fine, but the material they're working with is just not doing them any favors at all.
How do you write women so well?
I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability.
I really don't want to talk about this movie anymore. I don't often say, hey, don't watch this film, but don't watch Lucy in the Sky unless you want to torture yourself, and I'm giving Lucy in the Sky a 3 out of 10.
I done been killed so many times on social media, and I'm still here. I'm still talking. Look at me.
I am a god.
The Laundromat is a drama about journalists, so it's probably going to come out way late in the year for its Oscar potential. The Laundromat is the latest film from Steven Soderbergh and is my 7th most anticipated film of the year, and it's not that great. It's shot mostly pretty well, and there are some impressive transitions, but it mostly feels like The Big Short, and it's really annoying. A lot of the film, like The Big Short, is Antonio Banderas and Gary Oldman playing rich people who are talking directly to the camera about how they fuck over poor people, because we don't understand how finances work, I guess. The ending was well done, and Meryl Streep was doing her, hey, I'm Meryl Streep and I'm really good at acting thing, which I really enjoy. But overall, I was interested by parts of what the film had to offer, but not the whole. And I'm giving The Laundromat a 6 out of 10.
And I'm still here. I'm still talking. Look at me.
I am a god.
El Camino is a Netflix film which is basically an epilogue of the show Breaking Bad told from Jesse's point of view, directed by the show's creator Vince Gilligan. The visuals that Gilligan set up in the show is improved upon. There's definitely a more refined aesthetic, but pretty much every character from the show besides like maybe 2 people return, and it's kind of a mixed bag. Besides Aaron Paul, the rest of the cast in one way or another feels so off, mostly visually, and it's very distracting. Not body shaming or anything, and I love Jesse Plemons, don't get me wrong. I love him in Game Night, he's amazing in Game Night, he's amazing in pretty much everything he's in, but when he showed up on screen in this film, it was so distracting to see how he looks now in comparison to when he was on the show. But his scenes take place in the middle of the last season, and it's incredibly distracting, and it doesn't really end with him either. There's a certain bald character in this film that makes a comeback. There's many bald characters in the show, so it could be literally anybody, but when this character arrives on screen, it is very clear that this character is wearing a bald cap and their head isn't actually shaved, and it's super distracting because his head is way bigger than it usually is, when on the show, he had his head shaved. And it's even more distracting because you know the shape of his bald head because you saw it on the show for years, and it's really, really, really distracting. I know these are little things, but they go a long way for authenticity, especially when you're trying to make it feel like a continuation of where the show left off. There are a few select excellent moments like the duel scene, but other than that, if you felt satisfied enough by the ending of Breaking Bad, you don't need to see El Camino if you don't want to. And I'm giving El Camino a 6 out of 10.
And I'm still here. I'm still talking. Look at me.
I am a god.
Joker is the latest film directed by Todd Phillips, director of War Dogs, which I absolutely loathed, and the Hangover trilogy, which I'm basically indifferent to. From what we've seen so far, everything looks incredibly on the nose, and I'm not with it at all. A Joker origin story without Batman makes as much sense as making a sandwich with only jelly and calling it PB&J. Like, you have the J, we need the PB too, fam. It's gonna be DC's Venom, and I'm completely content with that at this point. point, I have no hope for this except for its unintentionally comedic prospects. Besides that, I like Joaquin Phoenix a lot. Most of the projects he's chosen have been some of my favorite films of the decade, but I do not trust Warner Brothers with literally anything.
I'll be the first to admit, I did not think that I would like Joker in the slightest. I was totally against having a film based on the origin of the Joker without having Batman in the film, and with each trailer released, it just reminded me that we live in a society. And that the entire film just felt like one huge meme. But this film shocked me to my core. It is not perfect, but it is well thought out, super engaging, and just as twisted as you would expect a Joker film to be. Joaquin Phoenix completely transforms into this version of the Joker. Is it Oscar worthy? I mean, I guess. I am really not sure why people think this movie is Oscar worthy. Is it because of the metaphors with real life and how society is a place we live in? I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah. Everyone does a pretty great job in this movie. My main gripes with the film are its story. Moments feel really cheapened for some reason, and I really can't put my finger on as to why I feel this way. I actually despise the way in which Joker contracts his laugh. Like, it's a disability? Really? That just seems super dumb to me. Also, having the Joker be the one to inspire a man to kill the Waynes is super lame. How many times are we going to see this take place on screen? We've seen it like 83 times on the big screen. Holy shit, we get it. Anyway, Joker is well made, well acted, and well thought out. And as a Batman fan, I'm glad it was not garbage. It will probably get a sequel since it's about to hit $1 billion fucking dollars. So can't wait for 2 Joker 2 Furious to hit theaters. I'm giving Joker a 6 out of 10. Maybe a low 7? Nah, it's a 6. Zazie Beetz is amazing though, and I actually would date her.
Joker is the latest test to see how far you can push copying without being called out for plagiarism by Todd Phillips. Plagiarism? What do you mean? It's a masterpiece. It's the best movie since The Dark Knight. It's a 10 out of 10. I've never seen a film like it in my whole life. Everything was so original. It's cinema, unlike those roller coaster Marvel movies. Ha ha ha, executive produced by Martin Scorsese. Well, it's not really any of those things. A couple of years ago, Phillips came out with this film called War Dogs, which I hate. It's actually bad. Todd Phillips never had a writing credit with any films at that point other than bro comedies, so War Dogs is basically Lord of War and Goodfellas combined, as if nobody would notice. And his next film, Joker, takes his I'm gonna copy 2 films as if nobody would notice formula, and instead he copies King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. And I know at this point in the discourse, you've heard that comparison many times, but I think it's way deeper than that. I mean, besides the cheesy attempts to include the Batman mythos and stupidly repetitive scenes of Joker laughing by himself, this film, for the most part, is just taking from King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, and watching Joker unfold was fucking annoying because there are scenes that are blatantly stolen from King of Comedy. And I guess people have been defending that by saying, well, they cast Robert De Niro, who was in Joker's position in King of Comedy, so like, he's in on it. But what was the joke? What is he in on? I don't get it. What is so funny about plagiarism? What is so funny about unoriginality? I don't fucking get it. I don't understand. But I do understand referencing things, and I do understand homage, but this film is pushing it. When Joker comes out on Blu-ray, you best believe we're making a supercut of the similarities. But in the meantime, the rest of this film is just average.
I've barely thought about the film since I've seen it.
It didn't provoke me in a thoughtful and positive way. It's just fake deep. Joker is to dark dramas what Hobson is to rapping. The score is well done, but often misused. The soundtrack, I mean, what the fuck was that staircase scene? Remember the music that was playing in the trailer for that scene? It seemed like it would be used for that, but we get like basketball hype music instead. I don't know. The film is well shot from an aesthetic standpoint, but in terms of craft, it feels like a student film. The push-in and pullbacks mean the exact same thing for some reason, which is, feel bad for me, isn't my life so hard? And they shouldn't mean the exact same thing. Each camera movement that is available to you should give you a different feeling feeling. They should be used in a different context. They should give you a different thing to think about when it's used. But in Joker, that does not exist. Joaquin Phoenix's performance is good, but it's not his best, really. It's not The Master. It's not Gladiator. It's not Her. It's definitely one of his showiest performances, but given the material, I don't think he gets to the places that he wants to go. And I don't see why he should win Best Actor when there are other better performances out there, to be honest. Also, the editing ruins his performance and it makes it look super cringeworthy at times. Like in the first scene with his counselor and he just starts laughing before the scene even starts, and it looks really stupid. Like, that laugh could have been moved to another point in the scene, but it just looks cringeworthy and stupid. But again, the main thing I have a problem with is Todd Phillips' handling of the character. He has no idea what he wrote. Way to make a movie about someone who becomes a mass murderer and shoots someone in public, but have that person be mentally ill even though the men doing this in real life, which is something you're trying to comment on because you're a hashtag director, don't have mental deficiencies. The horrifying thing about these people in real life is how ordinary they are. And to perpetuate these stereotypes that these people are mentally ill and that the Joker character himself is just some crazy guy is fucking stupid, lame, and wrong. I'm sure tons of hours went into this film, but besides the magnitude of the actual production of the movie, it feels like this film was made with no thought at all. I mean, just check out Joaquin Phoenix's reaction to a reporter asking him the negative impact his character would have on people. Like, why didn't him and Todd Phillips have this conversation? Whatever. I guess it's because they were busy trying to fit a real movie into some stupid comic book movie. And I'm giving Joker a 5 out of 10.
I'm not telling nobody to not vote Democrat. I love Obama. I love lemonade. I love Wingstop. I love polos. I love Jordans. I love Michael Jordan.
I am a god.
Dolomite Is My Name was way better than I expected it to be. It tells the story of Rudy Ray Moore, the man behind the Dolomite blaxploitation films. Although there were aspects of Eddie Murphy's performance that felt Norbit adjacent, he is overall fantastic as Rudy. Wesley Snipes gives the best performance of his career as an uppity, elitist actor-director. All the performances in this film, for the most part, are really engaging. The film starts off in a compelling place, but once the film gets to the point where they're actually making the Dolomite movie, it really shines. As a filmmaker, it's funny just to see the accuracies and the fuck-ups and the like, and I'm sure taking a peek into low-budget filmmaking is exciting from an outsider's point of view as well. There's a moment towards the end that bothered me though, where a character expresses how important it was to see themselves on the big screen, but it felt super forced. And the whole movie was basically about that, so you didn't need to say what the film had been saying for the last hour and 40 minutes prior to that moment, but whatever. Overall, I really enjoyed myself. But I don't know if I see myself watching this film again because I don't really think I'll get any more out of it on a second or third watch, but it's a good time nonetheless, and I'm giving Dolomite Is My Name a 7 out of 10.
Hey, I also saw Dolomite Is My Name. But I didn't write anything. The film is pretty good. Eddie Murphy is lit. Wesley Snipes is lit. The movie is lit. Dolomite Is My Name is a 7 out of 10.
I love Jordans. I love Michael Jordan.
I am a god.
Jojo Rabbit is the 6th film from writer, director, actor Taika Waititi. It stars Scarlett Johansson, Sam Rockwell, Reek, and Waititi himself as Adolf Hitler. It should be a ton of fun. I'm mostly excited that he's not doing a film that isn't for the sole purpose of making money and extending a universe. So yeah. Jojo Rabbit is the latest film from actor, writer, director Taika Waititi. It was also my 6th most anticipated film of the year, and it didn't disappoint, really. I mean, it's not as great as I hoped it would be, but I really liked it. The performances were all good, especially Scarlett Johansson. Oh my god, she's so wonderful in everything that she's in that isn't a Marvel movie except for Lucy. Oh my god, she's so good. She reminds me of other famous parental figures in movies, but if I say which ones, it may give unnecessary expectations of her performance, and I kind of just want you to see it for yourself. There's a decent amount of laugh out loud moments, but there aren't as much as the advertising would like for you to think. Unlike Thor Ragnarok, there's real stakes in this film and really dark moments which bring tears to your eyes, especially one having to do with shoes. Oh my god, that shot fucked me up. But the main thing I want to address about this film is its reception. People seem to have a hard time with the fact that this film even exists, that it tackles its subject matter the way it does, but it really begs the question if these people even understood the movie they watched. It's told from the point of view of a 10-year-old Hitler youth who is such an incompetent loser that he created an imaginary friend who is in fact Adolf Hitler, and the way that Hitler is portrayed in the film is a petty, jealous child. Would you expect a 10-year-old to take Nazi Germany seriously with almost 80 years of hindsight, even though he is, like I previously stated, a 10-year-old Hitler youth? Even 10-year-olds in 2019 can't process the Holocaust because they don't know what it means to murder 12 million people. They can't even process that information. They don't even know what genocide really is. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And you know what? We've had many films that take this time period very seriously because they're mostly from an adult's point of view. We've had many films that take it seriously because there was and still is a need to highlight how awful that period of time was. But a 10-year-old who is on the Nazi side of the Holocaust is not going to perceive that event with that amount of gravitas. It's just not fucking possible. And it's especially important that we have a film that makes fun of the people who did it, because I don't know if you've been paying attention lately, but certain people have been using comedy to punch down at marginalized people instead of punching up. And there's a certain person who really likes these white supremacists who can't take a fucking joke. So it's really important to make fun of these humorless, racist people. In conclusion, Jojo Rabbit is a film that I think accomplished what it was going for, which is to make a film that Hitler would absolutely hate, and I really think he would hate this film. And I'm giving Jojo Rabbit a 7 out of 10.
I love Jordans. I love Michael Jordan.
I am a god.
The Lighthouse is the sophomore film from Robert Eggers. His previous film, The Witch, made a lot of waves in 2015 and 2016, with its dialogue entirely in the New England colonial dialect, slow burn tension and horror, wonderful performances, and its mildly misleading trailer. I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, but upon a second watch, I gained more appreciation for it, and although I knew how the film resolved itself, I was still invested in the horrifying elements throughout. The Lighthouse, however, is a different film. It's a lot funnier, more contained, more dense, more metaphorical, but similar in that it continues using time-accurate dialect in its dialogue, and it's also about gender. The Witch is an exploration of femininity, and The Lighthouse is a monument to masculinity. Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe battle each other over the course of this film, and it's magnificent to watch. The way they deal with power dynamics, drunkenness, intimacy, and everything in between is awe-inspiring, and they both should be nominated for Oscars, and they probably won't, but a man can dream. The cinematography and production design are absolutely breathtaking. The titular lighthouse was built specifically for this film, and from my understanding, the film was shot on black and white film with old lenses and film stock, and it definitely feels old, in a good way. Some of the compositions feel inspired by German expressionism, but not inspired in the same way that Todd Phillips is inspired by Martin Scorsese, because that's plagiarism, and we stan original writer-directors on this channel who are inspired and don't feel the need to blatantly copy, beat for beat, other movies that they like. Like I previously said, the film uses time-accurate dialect in the dialogue, and it's pretty easy to understand if you're using context clues on the first watch. On the second watch, it's even easier to understand, and on my third watch, I would like to watch it with subtitles to pick up on more stuff I might have missed. Since I did see it 2 times, I can tell you that The Lighthouse is a film that rewards you for watching it multiple times. There are things you wouldn't have picked up on your first watch because there are things you simply don't know yet, and there are things you'll pick up on your second watch because you were too overwhelmed with everything the first time, so connections are clearer to make than they used to be. I will expand on that more when I eventually talk about this film again in a future video. Overall, this film is fantastic. I know this year I've spent a lot of these monthly movie reviews in the end gushing over a 9 out of 10, and The Lighthouse is no exception, and the November video will probably be no different because of a certain certain film, but right now, The Lighthouse is my second favorite film of the year. It isn't as emotionally impactful as Midsummer, it's not as horrifying as Climax, it's not as hopeless and dour as Beanpole, but it is a masterpiece. You cannot deny the craft that went into this film. You cannot deny the precision of the performances and the chemistry that Dafoe and Pattinson have together. You cannot deny how engaging and full of depth the writing is. You cannot deny how amazing the atmosphere is and how well the production design makes you feel like you're actually there. And more importantly, you should not deny yourself a truly unique movie watching experience that you can't get from any film or any filmmaker this year. I mean, you could watch a really safe movie like a Marvel movie, but when you talk about it with people, there's not much to talk about. And even if you don't like The Lighthouse, although I don't see how you could dislike this movie, it's fucking wild, there are so many things to talk about. The only flaw this film has is that Dafoe is out of focus for about 10 seconds during a monologue, and that's it. Literally, like, nitpicks and all, that's the only flaw in this movie. Otherwise, this film is a force to be reckoned with, and it's a film I will be watching on a yearly basis for years to come, and I'm giving The Lighthouse a 9 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and if you missed any of the New York Film Festival videos, we have a whole playlist on our channel. It's a good time. December is gonna be pretty crazy. We got a lot of videos planned and things and stuff. By the way, we're really close to 100 subscribers, so fucking tell your friends, share the videos, blah blah blah, please. We want to hit 100 subs. We might do a giveaway. I don't know. I have a lot of movies I can give away. I have a lot of codes, etc. Okay, bye-bye.
Are you afraid of losing your audience? Yay.
I told you I'm only afraid of God.